Hello friends, today we are going to learn about second chapter in 11th commerce, dual effect of transaction and types of account. So dual effect. So every transactions having two effect. If one effect is given on debit side, second effect must be given on credit side. So before we discuss about debit and credit rules, at least we have the knowledge about business transactions, cash transaction, credit transactions, and also non-economic transactions. So here, business transactions. Business transaction means the exchange of product, service, of business for cash or credit between two or more persons. So means business transactions means exchange of product or service. Suppose when we purchase a goods from any shop, at the time exchange of goods between seller and purchasers. So there are always two or more persons are required for any business transactions. Suppose when I purchase this marker pen from Tithi bookstores, at that time two persons are required. One is a Tithi bookstores and second is a myself. So when I purchase this marker pen, at that time exchange of goods, here I receive this marker pen and I gave 50 rupees to Tithi bookstores. So for business transaction means any transactions between two or more persons when exchange of goods and service are done here. So business transaction means the exchange of product or service of business for cash or credit transactions. So whenever we make any transactions, either it's in the form of cash or credit. तो कई बार अगर आप ट्रांजेक्शन करते हो उसमें कैश या क्रेडिट ट्रांजेक्शन हो सकता है between two or more persons. एटलीस्ट बिजनेस ट्रांजेक्शन के लिए टू और मोर पर्सन की रिक्वायरमेंट है, तभी आप एक्सचेंज कर सकते हो. एंड इन बिजनेस ट्रांजेक्शंस आर क्लासिफाइड इन टू कैटेगरीज. वन इज इकोनॉमिक ट्रांजेक्शंस, second is a non-economic transactions. Now what is economic transactions? Economic transactions are those transactions the value which can be measured in money form or cash. So economic transaction means any transactions which can be measured in money, whether it is a cash transaction और क्रेडिट ट्रांजेक्शंस. अगर आप कोई भी ट्रांजेक्शन करते हो उसका मेजरमेंट मनी के अंदर है तो वो इकोनॉमिक ट्रांजेक्शंस होगा. एंड इकोनॉमिक ट्रांजेक्शंस आर रिकॉर्डेड इन द बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट. जो भी अकाउंटेंट है उसको जब ट्रांजेक्शन रिकॉर्ड करना है उसकी बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट के अंदर, तो वो सिर्फ इकोनॉमिक ट्रांजेक्शन ही रिकॉर्ड कर सकता है. Means economic transactions are those transactions which can be measured in the terms of money, whether it is in cash form or a credit form. Suppose here I purchased this marker pen 50 rupees. So this transaction measured in money 50 rupees. Suppose 10,000 salary paid to employee. So salary can be measured in money 10,000. Suppose school fees paid 500. So school fees 500. It can be measured in the terms of money. अगर आप कोई भी ट्रांजेक्शन करते हो उसका मेजरमेंट मनी के अंदर है। जैसे आप पेट्रोल के लिए जाते हो पेट्रोल पंप पर, तो वैल्यू ऑफ पेट्रोल कैन बी मेजर्ड इन द टर्म्स ऑफ मनी। जब आप प्रोविजन स्टोर्स पर जाते हो, कुछ प्रोविजन की आइटम परचेज करनी है, तो उसकी वैल्यू भी आप मनी के अंदर मेजर करते हो। सो दैट इज कॉल्ड इकोनॉमिक ट्रांजेक्शंस, एंड ओनली इकोनॉमिक ट्रांजेक्शंस आर recorded in the books of account. In economic transactions, one is a cash transactions. In this type of transaction, money is paid or received for the exchange of goods or service. So, cash transaction means those transactions when the transactions are made at that time money exchange between two or more person. अब जब भी कोई ट्रांजेक्शन करते हो तो उसी टाइम अगर आप मनी पे करते हो या मनी रिसीव करते हो, सो दोस ट्रांजेक्शंस आर कॉल्ड कैश ट्रांजेक्शन। जैसे मेरे को पेन मार्कर पेन परचेज करनी है, तो मैंने इमीडिएटली उसको 50 रुपीज पे किया, सो दैट इज कॉल्ड कैश ट्रांजेक्शंस। क्योंकि जब प्रोडक्ट का एक्सचेंज हुआ उसी टाइम आपने 50 रुपीज पे कर दिया, सो दैट इज कॉल्ड कैश ट्रांजेक्शंस। सपोज 10,000 स्टेशनरी परचेज्ड from Tithi bookstores, and immediately this amount paid by check. So here you purchase a stationery 10,000 and immediately this amount paid by check. So whenever you paid any amount by check or online payment or Google Pay or Paytm, that is also called cash transaction. आप चेक से भी तो पेमेंट कर सकते हो, तो वो कैश ट्रांजेक्शन है। इन कैश ट्रांजेक्शंस जब करते हो तो देयर इज अ नो रिलेशन क्रिएट डेटर्स एंड क्रेडिटर्स, क्योंकि आप कैश में पेमेंट कर रहे हो, तो यहाँ पर कोई डेटर्स क्रेडिटर्स नहीं होगा, कोई लायबिलिटी या रिसीवेबल इंक्रीज नहीं होगा, क्योंकि आपने इमीडिएटली वो टाइम पर पेमेंट कर दिया। सो कैश ट्रांजेक्शन, हाउ कैन वी आइडेंटिफाई कैश ट्रांजेक्शंस? So some of the 3 tips here I am providing you 3 tips to identify that is cash transactions. Whenever in any transaction cash check word is given in transaction, in any transaction whenever check or cash word directly given, it suggests that this is a cash transactions. Example, goods purchase from Rusi 500 in cash. So 5,000 goods purchased from Rusi in cash. So in this transaction a word cash is given. So it suggests that this is a cash transactions. Goods purchased from Rusi 500, amount paid by check. So goods purchased from Lucy and 500 amount paid by check. So in this transaction a word check is given. So it also suggests that this is a cash transactions. So whenever in any transaction a clearly word cash or check word given, it suggests that this is a cash transactions. Second, name of person is not mentioned. So when in any transaction a person name is not given, it also suggests that this is a cash transactions. Because in cash transactions there is a no requirement of person name. जब भी आप कैश ट्रांजेक्शन करते हो उसमें पर्सन का नेम इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है। जब आप पेट्रोल पंप पर जाते हो और आप अमाउंट पे करते हो तो वो पेट्रोल आपको प्रोवाइड करता है, तो आपको नाम, आपका नाम क्या है वो पूछना नहीं है, क्योंकि आपने कैश में ट्रांजेक्शन किया। जब भी आप स्टेशनरी परचेस करने के लिए जाते हो, आप अमाउंट इमीडिएटली पे करते हो, तो जो सप्लायर है वो कभी आपका नाम नहीं पूछेगा कि आपका नाम क्या है, बिकॉज इन कैश ट्रांजेक्शन उसको कलेक्शन करने के लिए आपके घर पे आने की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है। सो कैश ट्रांजेक्शन पर्सन नेम इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड। आप रिलायंस के मॉल के अंदर जब परचेस करने के लिए जाते हो तो आप कैश में पेमेंट करते हो, तो बिल के अंदर आपका नेम कहीं पर मेंशन नहीं किया होता, क्योंकि कैश ट्रांजेक्शन में पर्सन नेम इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड। क्रेडिट ट्रांजेक्शन में पर्सन का नेम चाहिए क्योंकि उसको कलेक्शन करना है, तो पर्सन नेम इज इंपॉर्टेंट इन क्रेडिट ट्रांजेक्शंस। सो व्हेनेवर इन एनी ट्रांजेक्शंस a person name is not given, it also suggests that this is a cash transaction. Now same transaction I am making some changes for you. Look this. Here goods purchase, goods purchase rupees 10,000 goods purchased, rupees 1,000 goods sold. This is also cash transaction. 10,000 goods purchased. In these transactions, a person name is not given. Any business firm name is also not given. So it also suggests that is cash transactions. Rupees 1,000 goods sold. So in this transaction also a person name is not given. So that is also called a cash transactions. In some of the transactions a person name is given, but cash word is also given. Goods purchase from there on cash. So 10,000 goods purchased from there on cash. Here a person name is given, but also a word cash is given. So it also suggests that this is a cash transactions. Rupees 1,000 goods sold. In this transaction, a person name is not given, so that is called cash transactions. Rupees 1,000 goods sold to Sanjay on cash. In this transaction, a person name Sanjay is given, but also the word cash is given, so it also suggests that this is a cash transaction. So when name of person is not mentioned, it also suggests that is cash transactions. And third things, whenever any transaction having the word paid, received, deposited, it also suggests that is cash transactions. School fees paid 5,000. Salary paid to clerk 10,000. Premium of fire insurance paid 500. 10,000 deposited in a bank. These transactions are also a cash transactions. School fees paid So school fees paid 5,000 means this is cash transaction, and you all know that. Whenever you paid your school fees, at that time cash goes out. That is called cash transactions. Salary paid to clerk 10,000. Here you paid salary, and paid one is given. It means cash goes out. This is also called cash transactions. Premium of fire insurance paid 500. So whenever we take insurance, we must pay insurance premium, and the paid suggests this is cash transactions. 10,000 deposited in a bank, and whenever you deposit it in a bank, at that time cash goes out. So it also suggests that this is a cash transactions. So here I am providing 3 tricks to identify the cash transactions. Whenever in any transactions, cash, check word is given clearly, so you can easily identify that this is a cash transactions. Whenever in any transaction, a name of person, a name of shop, a name of firm is not given, that is also called cash transactions. And whenever the word is given paid, received, deposited, it also suggests this is a cash transactions. Now, credit transactions. In this type of transactions, money is not paid immediately for purchase sales transactions, but money paid or received in future. So in cash transactions, when the exchange of product and service, at that time immediately cash is paid or received. But in credit transaction, when the exchange between 2 or more persons about product and sales, at that time money is not paid immediately, but money is paid in future. So those transactions are called credit transactions. And whenever we made any credit transactions, at that time in credit transaction, relation of debtors means debtors and creditors comes into existence. In cash transaction, there is no relations of debtors and creditors comes into existence. But whenever any business made any transaction of credit, a person who purchased a goods on credit is known as debtors, and a person who provides a goods is known as creditors. Now there are 3 methods to identify the credit transactions. In credit transactions, cash, check is not mentioned. So whenever in any transaction a word cash or check is not given, it clearly suggests that this is a credit transaction. Name of person is mentioned. In credit transactions, a person name is most important, because a person who purchases a goods on credit is known as debtors, and a person who provides goods on credit, that is your creditors. कैश ट्रांजेक्शन पर्सन का नेम इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, लेकिन यहाँ पर आपको कलेक्शन करना है या किसी को पे करना है, सो एट द टाइम नेम ऑफ पर्सन इज कंपल्सरी. Relation of debtors and creditors comes into existence. In all the credit transaction, one relation is created, that is called debtors and creditors. Like 5,000 goods purchased from Ved Patel. So 5,000 goods purchased from Ved Patel. Look these transactions. In this transaction, a cash, check, word is not given, but a person name is given, that is Ved Patel. So this is called a credit transactions. So goods purchased from Vel Patel, then rupees 1000 goods sold to Rutvi. Rupees 1000 goods sold to Rutvi. So here the goods sold to Rutvi. In these transactions, cash or check what is not given. But in this transaction, a person named Rutvi is given. So it clearly suggests that these are the cash transactions. And whenever we goods sold to Rutvi, here we are not collecting any money, but this money can be received in future. So this is credit transaction. And when we goods sold to Rutvi, so Rutvi is become debtors for us. And for Rutvi, we are the creditors. आपने रुतवी को गुड्स क्रेडिट पे सेल किया है तो रुतवी आपके लिए डेटर्स हो जाएगी और उसके लिए आप क्रेडिटर्स हो जाओगे. 5000 rupees furniture purchase from Vivo. So rupees 5000 furniture purchased from Vivo. Look this transaction. In this transaction, cash check what is not given, but a person named Vivo is given. So that is called credit transactions. So whenever in any transaction a cash check what is not given, a person name is mentioned. So it clearly suggests that this is a credit transactions and this is a tips for you to identify that any transactions are cash transaction or credit transactions. So whenever in any transactions at the time of purchase and sales there is a no immediately amount paid in cash or check, but this amount paid or received in future. So those transactions are called a credit transactions. Now, in economic transactions, there are three types of transaction. One is a cash transaction, second is a credit transaction, and third, that is other transaction, or you can say other special transactions. The transactions that do not fall in the types of cash or credit transactions are special transactions. In some of the transactions, you cannot identify that whether this transaction is a cash transaction or credit transactions. So it is called a special transactions. कई बार ऐसे ट्रांजेक्शन होंगे आपके पास तो आप सोचते हैं ये कैश ट्रांजेक्शन है, ये क्रेडिट है, तो जो दोनों की कैटेगरी के अंदर नहीं आते, कैश ट्रांजेक्शन भी नहीं है, क्रेडिट ट्रांजेक्शंस भी नहीं है, but those transactions are important in the books of account, that is called special transactions. Like goods destroyed in accident. So whenever any goods destroy in accident, this is not cash transaction, क्योंकि आपको कैश मिलने वाला नहीं है, कि फ्यूचर में भी मिलने वाला नहीं है, तो this is not cash transaction, not credit transaction. This is called other special transactions. Theft of goods. अगर कोई गुड्स से उसकी चोरी हो गई तो चोर आपको कैश देने तो आएगा नहीं कि सेठ आप नहीं दे तो आप ले लो, कि फ्यूचर में भी वो देने वाला नहीं है. दैट इज कॉल्ड स्पेशल ट्रांजैक्शंस. गुड्स गिवन फॉर डोनेशन. सो व्हेनेवर यू गुड्स गिवन इन एनी डोनेशन मीन चैरिटी, so this is not cash transactions, or and you cannot receive in future, so that is also not suggest that is credit transaction. goods given in advertisement. So some of the goods is given as a sample for business advertisement. This is also called a special transaction. Now the main thing we have to identify in exam that this is a cash transaction or credit transaction or a special transactions. So some of the example here I am providing you and we have to identify this. Look this. Rupees 1,000 goods purchased from Chris on credit. Now here we have to identify that this is a cash transaction, credit transaction or special transaction. Look this word carefully. 1,000 goods purchased from a Chris on credit. In this transaction, cash word not given, check is not given, but a person name is given. So whenever any person name is clearly mentioned in the transactions and the word cash and check is not given, this is called credit transactions. Because in this transaction a person name is given but cash and check word is not given, so this is called credit transaction. Now same transaction I am converted into cash. Rupees 1,000 goods purchased from Chris on cash. So in this transaction a word cash is clearly mentioned. So this suggests that this is a cash transactions. Now I am making third changes. Look very carefully. Now rupees 1,000 goods purchased. Very simple transaction. Now look this transaction. This is cash transaction, credit transactions. So in this transaction, a person name is not given. And whenever any person name is not given, it also suggests that this is a cash transaction. This is cash transaction. Why this is cash transaction? Because we have one reason that in this transaction a person name is not given. Rupees 5,000 goods sold to Hitler. 5,000 goods sold to Hitler. Now tell me, this is cash transaction or credit transaction? Now in this transaction a person name is given. So this is called credit transaction. Now 5,000 goods sold to Hitler on cash. So here cash word is clearly given. So it is suggested that this is a cash transaction. 5,000 salary paid to Jain. So 5,000 salary paid to Jain. And here clearly word is given paid. जब भी आपको सैलरी पे मिलेगा आप कैश के अंदर ही पे कर सकते हो. So paid word is given, that is also suggest that this is a cash transaction. ये cash transaction है. Tuition fees received 5,000. So tuition fees received 5,000. In this transaction, a received word is given. That is also suggest that this is a cash transactions. Rupees 1000 goods given as donation. So 1000 goods given as a donation means goods given as a charity. So whenever you give any donation, you cannot receive cash or check. You cannot receive money in future. So this transaction is neither cash transaction nor credit transactions. So this is called a special transaction. ये आपके लिए special transaction है. 5000 goods burned by fire. So 5000 goods burned by fire. तो कोई आपका goods है वो बर्न मतलब जल गया है, तो यहाँ तो आपको कैश मिली ऐसा तो लिखा नहीं है कि फ्यूचर में भी मिलने वाला है ऐसा लिखा नहीं. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड अ स्पेशल ट्रांजैक्शंस. सो व्हेनेवर एनी ट्रांजैक्शंस is not in the form of cash or credit, but this transaction is important for the books of account, that is called special transactions. So friends, today we discussed about economic transactions, any transaction which can be measured in the terms of money, that is called economic transaction. In economic transaction we have three types of transaction: cash transaction, credit transaction and other specialized transaction. Thank you very much. Now today we will discuss about internal transactions and external transactions. Internal transactions: in certain transactions there is no need of other parties. These transactions are economic transactions. These transactions are recorded in the books of account. In some of the transactions there is no need of other party. Only business is making some transactions. But these transactions are very important. And this is also economic transactions. It means we have to record in the books of account. Like whenever we used any asset, so after a certain period the value of asset decrease, that is called depreciation. So what depreciation of machines. So here only one party, that is business. There is no another party. आप कोई भी मशीनरी का यूज करोगे तो उस पर डेप्रिसिएशन लगेगा, तो उसमें कोई अदर पार्टी है ही नहीं. तो ये इंटरनल ट्रांजैक्शन है. लॉस ड्यू टू फायर, ड्यू टू शॉर्ट सर्किट, फायर अकर्ड इन बिजनेस, तो आपका लॉस हो जाएगा. इसमें उसमें कोई अदर पार्टी रिस्पॉन्सिबल नहीं है, ये शॉर्ट सर्किट की वजह से. तो ओनली वन party is involved in these transactions. So this is called internal transaction. तो ये जो transaction है उसके अंदर only one party, that is business, is only involved. There is no other party. External transactions. These transactions are between business and other parties. These transactions are economic transactions. These transactions are recorded in the books of account. So when the transactions are made between two or more parties, here one party, that is business, and another parties are involved in these transactions, that is external transactions. When I purchased this marker pen from Tithi bookstores, so here two parties are involved. One is our business and second is a Tithi bookstore. So two parties are here involved. So this is called external transactions. Like sale of goods to customers. जब आपने कस्टमर को गुड्स सेल आउट किया है तो एक बिजनेस है और एक कस्टमर, तो यहाँ पर दो पार्टी हुई। पेमेंट ऑफ सैलरी टू वर्कर्स, जब आपने वर्कर्स को सैलरी पे की तो एक बिजनेस है और एक वर्कर्स है, तो यहाँ पर भी दो पार्टी इन्वॉल्व है। सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एक्सटर्नल ट्रांजेक्शंस। इन इंटरनल ट्रांजेक्शन there is no need of other party, while in external transaction there are always two or more parties are involved in these transactions. Then non-economic transactions. Non-economic transactions are those transactions whose value cannot be measured in terms of money. तो कई बार ऐसे ट्रांजैक्शन होते हैं जिनकी वैल्यू ऑफ मनी के अंदर मेजर नहीं कर सकते। दीज आर नॉन इकोनॉमिक ट्रांजैक्शंस एंड दीज ट्रांजैक्शंस आर नॉट रिकॉर्डेड इन द बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट बिकॉज इन दिस ट्रांजैक्शंस सो वैल्यू ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन कैन नॉट बी मेजर इन मनी एंड इन दिस ट्रांजैक्शन देयर इज नो एक्सचेंज ऑफ गुड्स और सर्विस। ऐसा कोई भी ट्रांजैक्शन जिसको आप मनी के अंदर मेजर नहीं कर सकते और वहां पर कोई एक्सचेंज नहीं होता, तो वो नॉन इकोनॉमिक ट्रांजैक्शन है। एग्जाम्पल, एन ऑर्डर रिसीव्ड फ्रॉम कस्टमर। आपको किसी कस्टमर से ऑर्डर मिला है, सिर्फ आपको ऑर्डर मिला है, अभी तक आपने ऑर्डर फुलफिल नहीं किया, उससे अमाउंट भी नहीं मिला, तो नो एक्सचेंज ऑफ गुड्स एंड सर्विस। सो दैट इज कॉल्ड नॉन इकोनॉमिक ट्रांजैक्शन। तो ये नॉन इकोनॉमिक है, और जो नॉन इकोनॉमिक ट्रांजैक्शन है वो बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट के अंदर रिकॉर्ड नहीं होते। सो फ्रेंड्स, इन टुडेज फॉर लेक्चर वी डिस्कस्ड अबाउट इंटरनल ट्रांजैक्शंस, external transaction and non-economic transaction. Thank you.